Hi, friends. It is Wednesday, and you are with me, your host, your psychic, your medium, your spiritual advisor, Cortney Kane Sides. Yes, we are on the Forbidden Knowledge Network, and I'm so thrilled that you are here every Wednesday. We go live discussing different topics, connecting to our guides and angels, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me tonight. How many people, I want to hear it, were at the Conscious Awards, the second, I almost said third, I'm already into next year, the second annual Conscious Awards. It was so beautiful. We talked a little bit about it last week here on the podcast. And looky there, TNT was there. I see your message here, friend. And I actually just messaged you back earlier. So check your Instagram messages, my friend. It was so beautiful to see you guys, so beautiful to meet you all. I met TNT and her little one, and it was so beautiful, let me tell you, to see not just adults there, guys. People brought their family, their children. We are helping raise consciousness around the planet. And let me tell you, you're such an integral part of this, right? We're all one. And so, my friends, I just want to say thank you for being here. If you have not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps. It just supports us, all of us podcasters here on the network. And let me tell you, we are one huge family. So, guys, tonight we're going to talk about the Mercury Retrograde. Let me know in the comments if you're feeling it. I know so many of my clients right now are getting lots of people booking their private sessions and those group sessions because they're feeling and have been feeling kind of that agitation of that retrograde. We've been in it now for quite a while. I think it was the 8th, right? The 8th of August when we started to go into retrograde. And, last week we talked about, was last week the Lionsgate? I believe that it was. Listen, I've been traveling a little bit, and so I've been a little, I think that last week we talked about, yes, that Lionsgate and where to kind of harness and put your energy, which was yes, it was, because I was in Las Vegas. Look at me, I'm trying to get the timelines correct. So anyway, again, guys, so grateful that you're here with me. Do me a favor. Let's take a good deep breath in. Let's call on the guides and angels, and let's get into it. So big, deep breath in. Stop there, count that breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call on those guides and angels and take that big exhale out. Hey, friends. Let's see. Are you here with me live? Right? Hey, friends. Okay, look, I've got it here. Got it on my phone. It looks like we may be. Who's live with me? Give me an emoji if you are live with me, okay? Let's see. Can't see any new comments. Wouldn't this be perfectly on brand for Mercury retrograde, right? Let's not expect technical issues. Okay, I see Consuela. I see Story. Hi, Story. Okay, friends, we're together. Listen, do me a favor. hit that like button. Do me a favor, share this, put it out there, subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel. So listen, we are talking about, somebody said that was a long, deep breath. That's right. We're talking about Mercury retrograde. So everybody, let's take one more small, deep breath in. Thank you, Audio Ron, for that. Big exhale out. Let's call on those guides and angels. So guides and angels on our right, guides and angels on our left, guides and angels in front, and guides and angels in back to balance and harmonize our time here, leaving us in the light and allowing nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon us now. Yes, my friend. Let's see. I love it. I love it. Everybody's like, yes, yes, on the exhale. Okay, everybody, who's been feeling the Mercury retrograde, right? Some of you might be noticing some technical difficulties, right? How many of you have been noticing that? Say, if you have been, put me, right? Hi, Roderick. You can come on here, my friend, if you want to. Tell Roderick to come see us, to come get in here and chat. Maybe give me 20 minutes. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde. And Rod, if you're available, come on in here. Let's chit chat. So, friends, now's the time. Mercury retrograde, it's been happening since what, August 8th? It goes until August 28th. What I'm doing is making sure to, yes, be aware of it, but more so connect to that Lion's Gate energy we spoke of last week. If you did not catch that podcast, go grab it, watch it after we're done here tonight. Make sure you tune in. That is going to be a beautiful energy. You didn't miss it. Tune into the frequency, tune into the energy, and start to really infuse your mindset with that. But when Mercury is in retrograde, my friends, you might start to see some hiccups. Let's call them hiccups, right? A little bit of frustration, sometimes being a little impatient. We can start to understand that this is a beautiful time to start realigning. I would say also recharging our batteries, because very often these retrograde moments will start to give you some high anxiety moments, just like we had just a few moments ago, right? With that technical difficulties. If I had let it, could have been more stress, more stress, more stress, but you take a breath in, you just do what you can, and you go to the next step, okay? You take on the next moment. So right now, guys, let that kind of be a lesson to let these times right now, if you're coming up on some frustration in your moments, in your time, in your day, to take a breath and allow it to kind of roll off, right? Now, again, is the time to kind of sit back, recharge, and realign, okay? Right now is the time very often, too, that you're going to see exes. Yeah, your ex relationships, maybe even ex friends kind of pop into your life. Very often, it's a time for you to kind of evaluate if this is a time to allow them back into your circle or your energy. Very often it's a no, right? Very often you've already set that boundary. I would suggest to not go backwards, right? So make sure that you're really, really clear about that. Watching old patterns, by the way, guys, how many of you here recently have been becoming quite aware of maybe even the patterns in your life right now that are not working for you? We all have them. We're all human, right? So is there something that you continuously do that you today see as something that's not going to help you get into that next moment of life, right? Consuelo raises her hand. Yeah, Ethan's raising his hand. I was noticing some things earlier. I started to kind of started to feel some anxiety about a few things. What can I control? What can I not? Taking that deep breath in and understanding that coming back to this very moment is really the only thing that we have any true control over. Any of that stress of the future, you're just writing the code for the next moment. Let's not do that, my friends. Story says so many reevaluations. Yes. Lori Lee says 2 former partners showed up today. So let's not see those things with judgment. Let's allow the awareness of those things. Take the deep breath in and just allow yourself right now in this time of Mercury retrograde. It goes until, again, August 28th. just to allow yourself to see it without judgment, and just to kind of, when I push that away, almost everything you're witnessing, see it with that third party's perspective, and just maybe allow things to be, making no major decisions, no major decisions, okay? And you can do that on August 29th. Make a list of those things that maybe you'd like to address after August 28th. August 29th is your day to take action. Okay, my friend? Lori says, loving them from a distance. Yes. Thank you, Lori, for that. We're going to share that and show that. That's right. Sometimes you've got to clean up the relationships, and maybe not even cleaning up the relationships right now too, but also this is a beautiful time when we're in this time of retrograde to declutter your mind, declutter your home. Your physical house is representative of your mind. If it is chaotic, it means it's time for you to slow down. And I know when I say that to you, I know when I say it to many of my clients, it almost makes them nervous, because then they think, oh, I don't have time to slow down. But if you give yourself a moment, if you give yourself just 5 minutes, 10 minutes of really quality downtime for you, it's going to make a massive wonder and massive energy shift in your life. I'm telling you. Yesterday, with all the traveling that's been happening, yesterday I was exhausted. So I didn't feel bad, and I just tinkered around the house. I needed to be home. I needed to infuse my energy here, do some of the things I needed to do here, tidy up in certain ways, laundry, lots of laundry, but doing it really slow, breathing in, exhaling out, and being very mindful while I was doing all of those things. So if you find yourself stressed out, exhausted, go slower, my friend. Right now is a really beautiful time to go slow. And I would even say nest. Nesting right now during Mercury retrograde is a really, really beautiful thing to do. So with, again, that decluttering, cleaning, reorganizing is also, again, there's another reorganizing different things that you actually feel is going to help you shift your energy. So say you're needing to make changes in, say, financial organization, right? Changing and reorganizing the way that you do your bills, the way that you kind of shift some of those things in a lighter way is a really beautiful time to review those things right now. Maybe not make massive changes until after the 28th, but right now being in a state of reviewing is really beautiful, and just being hyper aware of everything. Lori says, being a hermit and meditating more now than ever. I love that. How many people have been noticing kind of a nervous anxiety here in the last week, maybe in the last 24 hours, 48 hours? How many of you have been noticing that? It's almost an energy of like, oops, I didn't do my homework. I'm freaking out, right? And as an adult, right? Right. And so as an adult, you're like, why am I feeling like that? But you feel that internal nervousness, and you might not even be aware why. It could be Mercury retrograde. If we think that these planets, that we don't feel them energetically, their pulls, that water, we're crazy, okay? Just kind of be aware. Maybe jot these things down. Notice that rhythm of energy, the rhythm of your emotions, and just pay attention, right? Lori says, very vivid dreams. And Joyce is very hyper aware and irritable lately. Yes. Sean says he's noticed some issues with themselves. Laura Lee says, hi, Courtney. And I have, yes. So just be aware. Just keep noticing these different shifts right now, right? And so what's interesting there are certain signs that might have been feeling certain things. So August, August 4th, I think I said the 8th earlier, the 4th, August 4th is when Mercury went retrograde. And so Virgo, Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces were those signs that were really affected then. Right now, from August 14th through 28th, it's going to be Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, which is what I am, and Scorpio, okay? So just be extra, let's say aware. I don't want to say cautious. because cautious implies that it almost like is like you have to be hyper vigilant. You don't need to be hyper vigilant about a thing. Just breathe and go a little slower, knowing that you are divine, you are connected to source, and everything is going to work out for you, right? TNT says yes, and my son as well. He's 23. My little one is trying to keep us calm. What a sweet spirit she has. What a sweet spirit she has, I tell you. Sean says, I do not know what was going on with me. Well, there you go, my friend. There you go. I noticed, I will tell you, um, it was yesterday. I started to notice a little bit of like irritant. Somebody had shared something with me, and it was just kept kind of gnawing at me and gnawing. I couldn't have noticed it. It really wasn't that big of a deal. Took a breath in, let it go. And then later in the evening, I was working. I was kind of agitated about nothing, right? Everything's great, everything's wonderful, but I noticed an edge to my energy. So I'm curious if anybody's noticing an edge. And when I noticed that edge, that other thing that was a little annoying earlier crept back into my mind. And I knew, ooh, Cortney, if you let this like grow legs, this could be a thing that really gets you in a tizzy, right? So, my friends, be really aware of those little moments where we might be making molehills out of ant hills. Is that the right way to say it? I think it is, right? Notice this. And when you notice, you take that third party perspective, you're coming back into your divine energy. On that exhale, you're having that third party perspective, and you realize that you have great awareness over yourself. So often, when we have the ability to do this, yes, Mercury will retrograde, and there might be some of those things you notice. However, it will not always affect you the way it did before when you were maybe not so aligned with your highest self. Okay. You might notice some subtleties of these moments and these shifts in the planets, but they're not going to throw you off your rocker, right? Yeah. Candy says yes. And I was like that a couple of hours ago, right? So interesting. Mountain out of molehills. Thank you. Mountain out of molehills, my friend. Thank you. So very interesting. So lots of just awareness and thinking right now, being very patient with yourself. Think about the bigger picture, by the way, and no major projects, right? And you can watch them, take a look at them and put them maybe to the side, but until you sign the contracts, maybe wait to sign the contracts. And if you do sign contracts right now, that's beautiful, but make sure you're reading the fine print. That's the only thing I have to say to you about that, okay? Yeah. Review, reflect, and no fear, right? And again, those tech issues, we had them earlier, didn't we? Yeah. Take a breath. Yeah. So any problems, any issues you're having, anything you're seeing that needs massive attention, just make a note of those things. And after this settles down, after the 28th, you can start to address those things where you need to start pointing your energy to make sure that you're not ignoring some of the things that need to be addressed, right? We can all do that sometimes. And another thing too, right now during this Mercury retrograde, watch the overwhelm. How many of you have been overwhelmed? Lots of overwhelm right now and stress. So just when you are stressed, understand this is a beautiful time for you to learn what causes you to become out of balance. And is there anything that needs to be done? Is there anything that you can actually do? Take a breath in with me. And if not, let it go. Let it go. Candy says all month. So pay attention, my friends. Usually, that Mercury retrograde for so many years, I would say, it's here, but it doesn't really ever touch me. I would say I probably was a little bit cocky about it for a while. I do believe that, again, when we are in alignment, a lot of that energy doesn't always affect us the way, again, that it does so many. However, when you notice that it is, just pay attention. Pay attention. Sean says just enough of being overwhelmed over nothing, right? Take a breath in. Thank you for the awareness that is mine. Exhale that energy out. So when you have the aha and the awareness that, ooh, I see that, try to make that mountain out of a molehill. Pay attention. When you do that, you are coming back to your divine knowing and understanding that it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. Okay. So right now, if anything, is a beautiful time of rest. Make sure you're taking really beautiful, good care of you and you're tuning into your highest vibration. You're not allowing the frustration, the irritants, and the annoyances to overtake, because if you allow it, it will. Coco says, I've heard we're not meant to have any surgery during Mercury retrograde, but I have to have a tooth filling on Friday. Is that okay? As it's not an actual surgery. Yes. And even if you did, this is the thing, even if you did have a surgery, cover yourself in the divine light and know that you're protected. Everything's fine. If you give it energy, sure, you're going to allow it to be bigger. So just give it no energy. Come into your divine knowing, your divine space of connection to source, God, universe, and understand that you're going to be beautifully taken care of. And that's what will be, Coco. I love your name, by the way. Sean says, but I did catch it and I'm figuring out how to deal with my emotions. My emotions felt like they were going out of whack. Hey, my friend Roderick's in the house. I think we need to bring Roderick in here. Let's talk to him. Hey, Fred. Hi, Rod.
Hey, sis, what's going on?
Hi, my friend. Good. I saw you on and said, hey, come on here, chat with me. Have you noticed any of those things I've been talking about tonight so far?
Yeah. Especially for me going through a lot of contract things right now, and
Yep.
personal life stuff too, and just kind of but coming off the Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Award, but yeah. And of course we talked yesterday. And so, I tell people all the time I got the most beautiful not just friends and sisters, but the support system when you can just pick up the phone. Hey, Cortney, what's going on? And then you sense, well, oh, you're having a bad day or just something, or Roderick, I need to tell you this. And it's amazing. And you do an amazing job. So.
Oh, my friend. Well, first of all, can we give my friend Roderick a round of applause for his winning? Yes, this year at the second annual Conscious Awards. What a beautiful, beautiful award you got there.
Yes, thank you. And but we're gonna make sure that Cortney is next year's winner, and we're gonna start that early. So you all begin to get your email addresses together, all of this stuff, and get ready because we're gonna do it early because she deserves it and everything else. And you really do. But I tell you what, it was just amazing for all of us to be there as always.
Well, thank you, my friend. You know I love you. And of course, you can always call. I know I can always call you and we can chit chat about whatever we're working through. Before we jump into, I want to hear you going and diving into kind of your line of maybe the things you're seeing. We'll talk on a surface level because I know there's lots maybe of details we can't get into. We can't get into all the details, but I see. Right. Shelly did ask a question. She said, can you explain what Coco is talking about? Works my grandma used to do that as far as when and when not to have a procedure. Can't for the life of me remember what or how she did that. So, I'm not sure exactly what your grandmother was doing, but what Coco was referencing is that doing any major surgeries around or during Mercury retrograde, I always say they say, who knows who they are, but it's one of those things where the planets are, there's a lot of energy that is heightened energy during this time, and it can cause things to be kind of out of whack, if you will, and causes different setbacks, or it might cause, again, technical issues or legal issues with paperwork and contracts. And they, very often they say also don't close on a home during Mercury retrograde. Well, I will tell you that we close on the home I'm sitting in during Mercury retrograde. Listen, bless it, and know, again, like you know, that you've got everything it takes. You are fine. Look over that, speak to your doctor, and just understand that you're going to be taken care of. I believe that if you think you're going to have an issue, you're going to have an issue. Yeah, Roderick, what were you going to say?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I think that in most cases we hear a lot about, like you were talking about Mercury retrograde. And I think sometimes if we hear the negative connotations of things and not really embracing the overall of everything, and sometimes it can put us in a frenzy or everything else. But like for me, I'm in some contract stuff that I'm working on. And so it is probably not in my best interest to say, okay, don't sign this or don't do this, right? Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
And it's not in my best interest not to engage with it. So you have to look at things in the timing of it all, but you do go in it with a positive mainframe, mindset that this is the outcome that you're going to do is what you want, and everything else. But at the same token, that's not the only thing that was going on in my life. And so you can still have other things that super twines all of this stuff. And in spite of going this way with this stuff, you got other things that you have to do, realignment with people, family situations, and all these things. And so
life will life. Yeah, life will life. And we can't unlife because we're afraid to do this or that.
Yeah.
It literally is no fear right now. I do believe that very often when people hear many of those different things that I kind of suggested, the technical difficulties, they'll actually start to search for those things. Now it was funny to me as we got on tonight and I started to have, some technical issues, and it makes me laugh. So as soon as it happens, I kind of start to laugh, take a breath in, but I show gratitude for all of those, what feel like hiccups. And I think that for me is what shifts it and changes. So even last night, again, when I started to notice that, ooh, I could be real cranky for no reason. Everything was beautiful. Everything's great, but I could feel it, that I could feel that little And I knew once that I could feel that that little thing that I'd heard earlier kind of started to circle my mind. If I wasn't aware, I could grab that and be like, and I spoke about it for a moment with my person, took a breath in. I even said to him and said, ooh, I could feel it. I could feel me wanting to grab that. But that is the ego that's wanting me to be right and somebody to be wrong. That's wanting. And so just when we take the awareness, it helps us take us back, right? Or can connect to our heart rather than the negative side of those things.
Yeah, I think and you and I talked about and tell your person, my guy, what's going on. But we talk about it because we talked about it yesterday, and I think it also, because it's not just personal thing, but it's business. It's how we see the situation itself. And sometimes, like you said, you have to either get out the ego side, or am I operating there, or am I operating logically? Is this decision that I'm going to make, is it based upon my emotion feelings? But then at the end of the day, what do we rely on? Our intuition, our gut, where exactly do we need to pull from based upon all the black and white of things that we see? We still got to go to the heart. We still got to go back to our gut, which is our born mechanism of making those right choices.
You know what, Roderick, yesterday you said something to me while we were driving, and I was discussing, a possible choice it was work stuff. And you said, well, Cortney, if your right brain and your mind and your heart is telling you something, and then your left brain and if you're the thought, the thinking is also telling you and they're aligning, man, you have to listen to that. You said that to me.
Oh, yeah.
Look at my brother giving all the wisdom. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, this one here, you got to follow. Both sides is telling you and confirming that feeling and thought and helping you make that decision. Then it's an easy one. But oftentimes it's easy for people on the outside to say that, right? It's easy for people to hear something that I'm dealing with and say all you have to do is, right? That's not it. You just give everyone the logical thing, and ultimately you still made your own decision. I just shine a little light over here, a little light over there, and you say, well, yeah, both lights are on. It's really bright. Let's look at it this way. And I think, but that's that collective mindset of people talking at the right time, being there for each other at the right time, and having that circle. And that's one of the things like I say, I tell people all the time, I have the most. In fact, today I was talking to a gentleman. He was talking about business, and I said something that I was trying to make some decisions. And he brought you up. He says, did you ask Cortney about it? I said, well, she already confirmed this. This part that I have to make is a lower level of whatever happened. She's gave me the bird's eye view. This is still me trying to get over me to do what I have to do. And it was just so amazing and everything. And he's a person that 6 months ago would probably not even said, would you talk with someone who's psychic or whatever. And he's going to see his first psychic that his wife recommended this week. And I just thought it was an amazing shift. So
what's interesting is literally, I mean, on my paper, even, and I think I said it briefly, but very quickly, is something you just reiterated, and it's focusing on the bigger picture, right? And
yeah.
And while that came through in a session, I know that's what you're referring to, and you were like, oh, I just have to get out of, like, I've got to do the steps to get there, correct? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
We all, by the way, can be very overwhelmed, especially right now, guys, in Mercury retrograde, with focusing on the small details, because we're so afraid, because those details don't always feel as like that little step is going to get you into that big energy that is there for you, for us, right? And so I do believe if we can take what a cookie, a sandwich isn't eaten just by one inhale. It's little moments of bites, right? All the way. And so every time we do the one thing that feels like a little micro thing, it's a part of that bigger picture. And so if we can see it that way right now, and even again, if we're going dormant during Mercury retrograde, if we're just allowing things to realign, to be reset, reevaluated, reviewed, really understand that even doing that is you energetically doing something, right?
Yeah. And I think it's, oftentimes we as humans have been programmed to not look for those small details because we run this thing of the devil is in the details, right? Or, that's a saying that I even grew up with. But I've always run the outlook of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, right? So, but most people think you're just going to consume that thing altogether. And so, where we are with that, and same with yourself, we have to begin to not only look at that bigger picture and then also take those small increments. And that's been a transition for me with people that I've worked with in the past. A lot of times they focus on the bigger picture, but then your intuition tells you, that you got to go in reverse, because I like to go in reverse when I'm working towards something. Most people I work with is going forward. I'm coming backwards because that's usually where you're going to run into the bridges, right? In thought process. And so oftentimes, but it's a great combination to have both mindsets of people as you build that team and things where you're going. And so, but having, the other side, I call it the other side, people like yourself who are thinking out of our consciousness or, into the consciousness, but out of our physical body, where we can think out of that. And I think if people can develop that skill set or, and begin to understand that we are more than our physical body. And then people like yourself who confirms that, who knows that, so when I talk with you, I get those answers out of my physical body. I'm into another realm when you give me that advice and stuff. So it's really amazing.
Well, I think thank you, and I appreciate that. And as you say that, I receive it. However, I think that I know that in the sessions I conduct and the way that I teach in my development classes, I always mirror that same energy to each person. Like, if you see it within me, that wisdom, that connectivity to the higher realms, your guides, your angels, your loved ones, all your ancestors, you see it in me because it's something that resides in you.
Okay. Yeah.
That is what that is. And so when we are finding that we're connecting to somebody who has a spiritual mindset, it's because it's within you as well. And so there's every one of us is really a mirror for each other. And so taking that component and that mindset, that even just that saying into to our mind right now, again, especially during Mercury retrograde, what is the lesson? So these people that are coming up for you in your mind when you're like, oh, that person's driving me nuts, or oh, that, there's an energy within them that matches you. How many of you just cringed when I said that? So this the woman from work that you're like, oh my gosh, she blah 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 blah, or that this person, or that whatever it is that you see outside of yourself, taking the breath in and saying, taking the inhale and then the exhale, it kind of takes you off of your high horse, our high horse, and we say, what is it within them that mirrors myself? And when we do that, we kind of start to put down our little tug of war, our swords, if you will. And we're like, oh, we actually show a little bit more compassion to our neighbor, the people around us. And so when you're also right now during this time of reviewing, what are the patterns that you're seeing in your life? Are there patterns that keep popping up that you're actually participating in? Right? And what
Yeah.
we do about it? Do you have patterns pop up, Roderick? You're like, hush, Cortney.
All the time. No, I didn't say hush, Courtney. All the time. And sometimes we it's like, oh, you see some 3 times and it means this or all of these things. I think it's I tend to always say that I'm constantly communicating with my older self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always saying, come back. For example, as a joke, I don't use it anymore because it's not there. But I used to always say, what would my older self tell me? And he'd be like, well, stay away from them cupcakes. That's what I would say,
Yeah.
Now in reality, he's saying you're doing a good job because I'm looking better in the future. So
Wow.
you change that, right? And you begin. And also, like I've been studying symbolism, which that's the new direction of the channel. Oh, go ahead.
And I want you to repeat what you just said. What you just said. Okay, the old you would have been like, "Hey, give me those cupcakes," right? And
Well,
then,
no, it's when I say the older me, I mean the future me.
no, I know. Yes.
Yeah. And so he's older. So now he's saying at first, get rid of them cupcakes. Now I'm hearing the voice, I'm looking good in this future. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Yeah. So
Which
that's a beautiful thing.
that is at a different vibration.
Yeah.
So that even as you grow here, your wise highest self is also taking that same trajectory. You don't get, what I mean? It's more wise that your even highest self is becoming. So,
and I think that's the most beautiful thing because you don't have to rely on others around you to give you that confirmation or the affirmation or even though you love the fact that you want that. You want people to recognize what you're doing, especially little small subtle things. But when your higher self in the future is starting to come back to say, keep it up. You're in the right place. Make sure you keep working on this. There was something I was talking with Lonnie today. We're working on some stuff for my production company. I'm starting to do my own production company, and we're going to do some films, you and I and all of us, and I have made a decision to hold back on something. And since I've made my own sigil or my own magic or my personal protection, it was like my head started ringing. And when I got to the office, it was like, you got to go open this folder. And when I opened this folder, it was a total reminder of something that I wrote down that my future self was saying, stay on point. This is where you're going. And I think, and I just wrote this down when you was talking. I'll flip to the screen for y'all. I don't know if they can see that, but I'll zoom closer.
Yep.
This is the question mark, right? And when I started studying symbolism, in the ancient symbolism, when that question mark was it was made for us as humans as message, because symbolism is really our internal for all of us to understand these things. But the question mark wasn't what is used for today at the end of our sentences as we're asking a question. It was literally designed as a magic symbol for us to know as humans the answer is within yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's the core of this particular symbol. And I'm like, it's time to do this. It's time for you to get out here, and not only you're enjoying this journey, but also that you're going to teach it. But I think there's a lot of things that we just don't know, and it's been lost in translation over time. And then we're surrounded by other people who has adopted these ideologies of, don't believe what you hear to yourself. Oh, those are just voices. Oh, you are crazy. But don't know that your voices are either your ancestors or the future you. Everybody's trying to communicate in your best interest to you the best way you can. You just have to trust that communication. So I think that's important.
Trusting and quieting down enough to be able to hear it.
Yes.
And so I know as a mother and a friend and a business owner and all of that. So for so many years, I was running to the pace of everybody else, getting
Yep.
to. I was in corporate America for a long time, wanting to, all the things. Life, this system that we're in, keeps us so far away from our core energy. And once I realized that, I found meditation and that breath and learning. That's why it is everything I do, guys. Anything you see me or hear me do, that is my connectivity to source. That is my connection to God, universe, my loved ones, my parents on the other side, all of it. And we're not taught to breathe, and we're not taught to even know what in the world we feel like. And so how can we even help the world around us if we don't even know what we feel like? And our energy as people is like, it is about this big, right? And so as far as your arm can stick out, that is our energy bubble. And we can, until we know this of what we're made of what we feel, when we are able to do that work, we can then really understand the world outside of ourselves, because we can ask ourselves, how does this feel to me? Not what did Cortney tell me this is, what did Roderick say necessarily, which all of that is cool. But if you breathe it in, then you can also put it through your own filter of connection. And that's when you will no longer need validation and confirmation from anybody or anything outside of you. It's
And
incredible.
I think it's you just said something even for me. I think, without me going totally into things, but I've always been on this quest of building my relationships with people
Mhm.
outside of just communication. But I think that I've heard so many times when I've made a decision that was best for me, that
Mhm.
the other person will call and say, well, you just need to get out of your feelings. And it was like, no, it is that feeling that has been telling me exactly where I need to move. To you, you can't comprehend it. So it's this supposed this negative thing that I mean, and I've heard it before, oh,
Yeah.
he's in his feelings. No, my feelings is my intuition, it's my thought, it's my inner me. It's the
Power.
most powerful part that's telling me step away from this situation, shut it down, rest for a minute, breathe for a minute. And I think oftentimes people don't the outside people doesn't understand it, and they think the emotional side is something bad or feelings, but the person who's actually getting the message,
Mm.
we need to really respect the fact that that is an important part of your guidance system.
You know what? I was a kid who suck it up. My parents were wonderful, but at that time back then, if you were crying, you were weak, or if you were crying, you were the drama. You were the, you know what I mean? And I was
Right,
definitely,
right, right.
listen, and I'm not going to say I don't have a little drama, because I like to be, I like a little drama in my life, but the good kind of drama, the fun stuff, not toxic drama. However, when I was young, it was always suck it up, Courtney. You know, the commercials would come on of the dog and the this, and I just would be crying. Or the movies, the sad movies, the happy movies. I felt so much. And now as an adult, I always say I feel so much that I feel in color. I don't understand. There's no other way for me to express it. And I feel so much that I see the colors, I feel the colors, I know the colors. And some of us are just that in tune to that kind of energy. And so when you say that somebody is telling you, "Ah, you need to get out of your feelings," well, thank you for the awareness
Yeah.
that is mine. Thank you for being a teacher on my path, asking nothing but the highest, truest, or the best to manifest upon me now. And what we know within our bubble is that that energy doesn't work for you. And so
Yeah,
that's
plain and simple. And end of story of that, right? Because that's where it is. And I think, it starts in childhood. Because I remember doing this myself as an adult to my children, and I'm more aware of it now as an adult. And I wish I could have altered some of these things. So this will be a message to people with young kids now. Oftentimes we will. I remember my mom would give me a beating for something, right? And not
Mhm.
in a negative sense where it was abusive, but I call it a beating from my standpoint.
Yeah.
But before I could really finish crying it out, she would then get ready to give me a beating to say, "Stop crying, you better shut up now." And
Yes.
it's like, well, hell, you just beat the crap out of me. What am I supposed to do?
Right? Yeah.
So I can't cry anymore. So it's like now you get the beating for what you did, and now you get ready to get another beating if you don't shut up. And I think we just need to let the kids just cry it out because we just did it, right? And even as an adult, sometimes just let it out if you want. Now I'm a full grown man. I'm not walking around, doing this stuff. But I do sit back and decide to breathe because you and I talk about it. Or you've really, I take all of your thing. I'll stop and I'll breathe, 4 times in and hold it for 4, and I'm letting it out. Box breathing now and breathing, and it's really helpful throughout the day or whenever else. And that's my emotional moment. I don't have to be aggressive. I don't have to be or anything else. But I will say to people that I work with, if it's not for those techniques of things, then you may see a more heightened masculine energy there. You know what I'm saying? So I tap into that feminine energy of myself to calm me in the situation down, and then I make better decisions based on the reality of what's really happening and not the emotional situation is what we were talking about yesterday. So
Yeah, I think that emotional awareness is really beautiful and important. And I love that you say if you're not taking that moment to breathe, that you might be, yes, in more of that masculine energy. And both are so important, right? It really
yeah,
is. Yeah,
yeah,
to
you got to
feel.
have that yin yang of everything. I think we all have it both in us, and sometimes we're either operating too much in one and operating. You still have your standard of operation procedure with yourself. Of course, I'm not saying, but I think that the part that we all possess them both, and so you may run into someone who has a little of this one if it's a woman, and I probably could say I've dealt with that where the person I just needed a little more feminine energy from the person, but
Yeah,
that masculine energy they was operating in was their defense mechanism. It was their protectiveness or protecting themselves from whatever the past or whatever they want to assume. And sometimes that just doesn't match. And not to get into relationships, but I think in business, communications with your significant other, it's all those things. And I think there's many times we've talked where you and your guy, where you said, you know what, I listened to him over here, and then I trust in what he's saying, at this point, even though I feel like this, he's thinking. And I think not to put it there, but that's where the disconnect is, Courtney, because when we think we're communicating, one is feeling and one is thinking, and they
mm,
can say the same thing. I feel like this is a good idea that we do this. The other one said, well, I think like it's a good idea. That is still not communication because you're still off, because in an argument, one is going to say, I feel like you don't care about what I'm saying. The other one's saying, I think you think I'm stupid or think this is stupid of what I'm saying, because they're not saying the same. It's the yin yang, right? And so until you come into the middle of that, point. And like I said, everything is symbolic to me now. So you
Yes.
got to meet in the middle to really respond to each other. And you can easily do that is by saying, well, how did I make you feel when I did what I did or said what I said? And once that person conveys that to you, it's a done deal. No argument, no defending, no nothing. Or what do you think I said to you? And then when they repeat it back and you realize that is not your intention and you didn't mean for them to hear it like that, you then make your change of communication to put that out there. So I've been becoming a better person over the months and stuff. And I don't relay a lot of this to the audience and stuff, but since I started getting into this higher frequencies, the thoughts, the consciousness, the in-depthness of who we are and things like that, it has definitely improved things on my end behind the scene. And I think that, we have to do that, but you have to go through that period of isolation, period of loneliness, the period of all those things. And it's it's important. But I have that support structure with people like yourself that if I didn't, man, it'd be a crazy moment.
If we didn't, well, this is the thing. I think when we have a support structure, it's because there's likeness there.
Yes.
And if you weren't growing and if we all weren't growing, we would not all be growing together. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And we can all really value that too. So that also means letting people go, or let's call it, again, coming back to Mercury retrograde, reevaluating the changes that might need to be changed, in coming up. You might not have to be cutting people today or making, big moves right now, but reevaluating some of these moments in every area of your life right now. And if you're not moving at the pace that you'd like to be moving, start to really look around. What are you not pointing, not that saying, well, it's this person and that person. Make sure you're putting that finger back on you, because if you're seeing it around you, that means that somehow our own energy is saying yes to that. And that's one of those things that's not an easy thing to take accountability with either. And so that's right now to really pay attention to.
And I think it's like, for example, if you're around people that all of us are operating in this particular higher consciousness or thought process or awareness or whatever we want to call it, you not only are not only going to disconnect yourself from or let people go, you will hope that people let you go. They have you in an embrace. They holding you back. You don't even know it, but they know they have a strong hold on you. You're trying to be there for them. You're giving them all the energy, and you're not going to reciprocate it. You can't match it back, but their heart is in you. And all times, you would hope that they grow enough to let this situation go. So it's not about always of me letting go things. It's also, I think, the part of and a good part about it, they don't have to physically say it. All they got to do is consciously think it enough that my higher self is going to pick that frequency up and go, oh, really? And then it's going to relay the message back to me, and I'm going to make a decision to let them go. But yet, because you want to do it on your own accord, but yet I picked up the message that they're not good for me, and they knew it. So, and that's one of the things you have to look at.
Well, and it's interesting. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure Ethan said I could say this. We kind of talked. There's been a lot of beautiful change, throwing him under the bus. Love you, babe. The thing I think that when we're in a relationship that works for us, I remember that, and some of you may be able to relate to this in my previous marriage. Very often, especially when we're spiritual beings, we're like, oh, if only they'd do this, they'd be right alongside me. I saw somebody ask a question and say that about their, whatever, their relationship and him not growing. So it triggered this thought for me. I remember having those thoughts, but I would have those thoughts, take a breath in, of course, move it through, but still continue on my path and my journey, right? What I realized was that that wasn't his path or journey. And And so while that relationship and marriage ended, had nothing to do with that other necessarily, but the relationship I'm in today, what's really cool is that communication it really is on point, and the support is on point. That I've done the hard work on my own. I know he's done the hard work on his own, and this is mine, that is his, and we have this together. And so there was a moment while we were in Miami, and I think he's sweating in the comments maybe, but
Now, he's putting the faces up like,
oh,
without saying, holy moly, what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. So,
right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And she says he was my greatest teacher. They always are. That's so true. And so, but what was interesting is while I'm in my own space and bubble, he was coming to me with his own aha moments and self
mm,
realizations. And even him I never once thought, oh, I need to go tell him he needs to do it. Never even crossed my mind. But when he said it to me, it made all the sense, and it was in perfect alignment. And I agreed with his aha moments and was like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, you're
right.
right. And it was really cool to see him want to grow in his own way. That was something that was an,
Yeah.
and of course he has along in his own ways, but this was something new, and that was really cool to witness, and also not be, sometimes us women like to control or push or do this and that. It was so beautiful for that to be his aha moment and me not to have anything to do with that. You understand?
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
having
Yeah.
people to
And
grow with is the coolest thing.
yeah. Oh my God. And don't get me wrong. It's not so much of, even in my case, it's not so much of having people to roll with. I think sometimes, and I think what you're saying is Ethan also knew what was your moment, what
Mm,
was your environment, and he knew how to protect and be within that environment. But not only given the space of the emotion or whatever you're dealing with, but also saying, okay, I'm still here. I'm just going to move around this way. You're a little, maybe a
yes,
little energy coming over here, but I still got your back. No matter how you turn, I'm going to do this. And I think that, even now, as I look at the future, and the choices to make, and make no mistake about it, you want to make sure that you have people in your closer circle than the other circles, because I think a lot of people don't know. And I use this for a prime example. I'm here, we talk, we got people in our chat here, and they saying great things, and they go, and some of the people are here all the time, and not that you take it for granted, but you do get a little used to in looking over, and you see Doctor Strange Doom may say some great stuff, and then if they don't, I'm looking for it now because hey, wait, they ain't saying nothing yet,
our
but
best.
but when you get to that conscious award like we did, and you're meeting strangers, and we're taught stranger danger from a kid, but now you're meeting strangers that are telling you the lives that you touch. And like I said on stage, now taking it to the next level of being able to touch the lives that you touch. I can say I walked away not only with a bigger, not the excitement of winning, not the excitement of being there, but the excitement of your self purpose, all that you wanted to do, and you're doing, in spite of all the people who gave you negativity, in spite of all the people who jumped off over here or couldn't make the trip with you. Your validation has came back 100-fold, that you're on the path and you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now you align the team, your people together, but now hopefully you put people in the right place, that their vision is your vision.
They see the mission.
And they see the mission, and we're on a great mission. And I got some great people around me. I have some people that are very protective, like you and Lonnie, and a lot of people that are just like fighting pit bulls, right? I got people in this space. I got people physically, and it's like, okay, all right, we can fight a whole army with this group here, like the movie, go in there. But I think mentally, spiritually, and confidently, I step into the future to give people something they never seen before. So y'all be prepared.
And breathe into the future without having any expectation of what that ceiling is. That's the thing. And
Yeah.
I see TNT, who we met. Do you remember meeting her? We met her and her little girl. Do you remember that, Roderick?
Yes. Mhm.
At dinner after the Conscious Award. So
I thought it was the most. I told that story that you kind of got to be like. So imagine, and if you want to tell it, I'll just tell my
no,
little
you
point of
tell it.
view.
You tell it.
But from my perspective of that, in spite of all the people that was there, all the people that came and all the great stuff, it was that heartbreaking moment for this kid. Is she wasn't saying who is Santa Claus. She wasn't saying it was the moment of moments that she said, I missed this moment. And I can imagine this little girl waiting days, months for this moment to come, the
Mhm.
dream and what it would have probably inspired her to become. And now it may have been a negative thing, but I bet you she's not only not going to miss the next red carpet, she's going to be on the carpet for
That's
herself in the
right.
future. And that's what I think is going to transpire. And she's going to remember that story of herself saying to her audience and 20 years from now and saying that I cried because I couldn't make the red carpet. I'm
Oh.
crying because I'm walking on it to be honored. I think that's what is going to happen.
You
But
know
anyway,
what?
go
I
ahead.
love
Yeah.
that. Well, that sweet little girl, TNT, I appreciate you and your little one making that trip. I know Roderick does too. We connected right after the awards, and they were unable to get there because of the ride for a reason, this or that, and she was upset. And so we brought her in, we hugged on her, and took pictures with her. And I have a VIP Inner Circle membership going out to her mom, and that's something that she could kind of tune into as well. And so we're all sending her, myself and Kika, I believe, was going to be sending. We're all going to be sending a little sweet treat. I've
Yeah,
got
I'm gonna send her some special shirts as soon as I get the shirt size from Cortney and the address. So
yes,
yeah,
I've got the address, so I'll send it to you. And so we were so happy to see that. So listen, I love that little connection that you just said for her, that little intention for her.
I think we need to look for a little piece of red carpet and let's send her a red carpet.
And tell her, say you're making it. I just got chills.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, we'll
TNT
send her
says
a piece
we
of red
love
carpet.
you too. Thank you. Good.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
The thing too is I think allowing, right now, you mentioned the circle. Um uh you mentioned that circle. You mentioned the the road that it takes kind of to get there, and even the doubt. Somebody earlier said that their ex, I think it was TNT, that their ex was kind of doing, I want to call it a campaign, and kind of belittling the work that she had been doing. And I know I've had that in my experience. I know, Roderick, you've had that in your experience. We're friends, we talk about that. And when we don't give up on our light, and we evolve, and we also allow people, by the way, we can't expect that and not allow other people to change and grow and become somebody, healed or whatever. So if we want that from the world around us, we have to make sure to put that beautiful, loving forgiveness and energy out there to them too. But what's interesting is when we do this, um, when we've had no support, it's one of the cooler things when you're on that stage. When you won that award, Roderick, I was sitting there recording. It's got to be on Ethan's phone. I looked on mine. I
So
don't.
someone else sent it to me, but they was overshout. They're shouting over powered your shouting. I think I heard a little mouse, Roderick. That's
Yeah,
Courtney, maybe, but
yeah.
that person who sent the video was on point. So yeah, we need to get your perspective.
I was sitting front and center, so I'm like, my video is probably better, but I'm gonna double check his video. But to see you and to know the hard work you put in, and to be able to, I understand your path. I've had a similar path in that way with a marriage or a relationship and family members that don't really understand or value your work, and for you to be up there and do it to such a degree that you are. I literally sat there and I looked at Ethan and thought, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Like I was like sitting there starting to like have to wipe my tears. And he was like,
But,
don't,
but you know, I got a story to tell. I have to tell this story. I have to tell the truth. Y'all got to hear this, all of you.
Yes.
So y'all know I say your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. So right before they doing the category, and I'm saying like, man, am I going to get this or whatever? I look down, right? And Courtney is looking at me at the other end, and she's going.
Yes,
And I told Selena, who I was with, I said, I think I'm going to win. She said, why you say that? I said, well, Courtney just gave me the signal. She says, and of course, right after that, they call my name. I go up there. That's why I go. I had to tell them, your eyes are useless and your mind is blind. I thought that was just so beautiful from that, and that was just great.
it was so great. It was good. It was beautiful, and you had it. And yes, I did scream. So I'm just going to say yes, that was me in the video. But we'll see it. We'll find ours maybe tonight if Ethan can
Yeah.
film it and find it.
I like to add to something that I'm growing with. Maybe I can share this
Yes,
with you or other people.
please.
I started looking back even yesterday or other days or in the past, and in all of my past relationships, whether it was my ex-wife, the she-wolf or whoever, I believe that all the people that you're around, your exes and whatever, it's not that they're not for us or whatever, even though in sometimes we operate in the wrong modality sometimes, you know, in the negative, and it sounds and whatever. But for me to love them and for me to love everybody where they are, I now start to realize it's all about a light bulb and the power, like you say, your light. And I'll give an analogy. I'm 1,000-watt bulb, period, and point blank. But if the person behind you can only charge 10 watts of that, they can't allow you to shine, right? Because they're not, even though they love you with what only that they have, that's about as best as they can get.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to understand they're doing their best, but it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? And that not enough sometimes has negativity tied to it. But at the end of the day, you have to now be connected with people who can supercharge you. So the person who I will be attached to will come in with power of 10,000 watts, right? And push me to a brighter area that I didn't think I can do. Although I'm shining bright now, I'm gonna shine even brighter. And I think that's what we need to start looking. So we're gonna love it all. We love all the energies. And just some energies is just not enough. So
Well,
that's what we need to know. Yeah.
So what I hear you say too, well, first of all, I think how in the world can they show space, show love, show kindness, show support? Because I mean, they've never even known it for themselves. So it's very hard to
Yeah.
give something that's not even, it's hard to give the light that you haven't, that you're not to the watt degree, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And so
Yeah.
exactly the way you described it. And so it might be impossible for them to show support. And I don't believe that, you know, I think that when we find our crew, like the supporters, the team, which we all have, I've got my amazing, first of all, Ethan, but then my assistant, oh my gosh, could
Yeah.
never, Pamela, you've heard me speak about Pamela. I think you've met her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, she is my goodness. And I have a couple of other people that help me that I just require because they're so wonderful. But I believe that they see our light and they are able to amplify that as well. So it's not even that
Right.
we need their light. It's just that light attracts like
Yes.
attracts like. And so if they're not of the light or they're going to remain at that watt, they're not going to remain. You understand? I want to say something that I saw Billy S, by the way. Thank you. Billy says, Courtney, you're glowing and looking more youthful. What gives? So somebody asked me and she was so sweet. She was like, I don't mean to be rude, but she said, you, and so thank you. I appreciate it. I take a compliment.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. However, she said, when you first started your podcast, guys, go look at them. When you first started your podcast, she was like, my gosh, you look younger today. You look more vibrant, blah, blah, all the things. And I sat there for a moment and my first thought was, you know what? I'm loved well. I'm really, really loved well. And then I said, but wait, I love myself well.
Yeah.
And loved by Ethan well. It's not just external, it's internal. And then loved well beyond with him too. And a little blonde probably didn't hurt either, right? And so I
You mean
but
on him or you?
yeah, on me maybe. But it is, I appreciate that, but I'm telling you, it is loving myself well. If you listen to this podcast, it was about a little over a year ago. I think it was in the spring. It was about a year. It hit me, this moment of almost like a rebirth. I felt like I had gone through a rebirth. And I was understanding that in order for me to really, there's no control on anything. Now I can get in my left brain, you and I can get on a phone call of what needs to happen. This is what we're going to do and all of it. But honestly, the part when we're in our highest form of creation is when we take a breath and we just kind of float and allow it to be. We just get into the energy.
Yeah.
That's it. And so there's really nothing to be done when we're in that space. And so I realized that when I'm in that creative feminine flow, it happens for me. And I think that what felt like the death of the old Cortney and the rebirth of me, I do believe that there was some sort of a light inner light shift that happened. And I think that that's what that was. So anyway, Billy S., I appreciate you. And by the way, my dad's name was Billy S. And so I take that as a sign from him too. So thank you, Dad. And thank you.
Look, everything is what it is. You know, one of the things, like a friend of mine just texted me and she was saying that, you know, how many people are watching right now that people are sleeping on you. And that's the slang you already know, meaning you're one of the best, right? And I think that, and it also was an answer for myself at the Conscious Award, because sometimes when we're on Forbidden Knowledge or we're doing the channels, we get more than our channels. And what I found now, of course, studying YouTube, the algorithm, and it's designed to take people where they were before. So if they watch you on Forbidden Knowledge, they're going to it's going to feed them that reality of coming back to there. But then it dawned on me, and I think you and I was having a conversation. We were, when it was like, okay, we need to find out who's doing the shorts, who's doing whatever, not just regular things. It's time for us to market ourselves even more, where people know we exist. Because not that when they find us, they're not going to like the taste of it. It's no different. I remember when I was going to church, Bishop Jake's, the Potter's house is, you know, right from my house. And he was actually doing a sermon, but he went into talking about how there are great people. And I remember now distinctly, he was telling a story about, he used Beyonce, used all these people. He says, but, you know, in reality, he said, there's people that are at home frying bacon that can out-sing these people. He said, there's people out there washing clothes that can do. He said, it is the marketing that they have above these people. And there's so many talented people at home that are not being seen because people don't know they exist.
Right.
And the reality of that was really profound during the Conscious Award. And that is one of the things that when I came back that I'm working on now, it's like, okay, just you got it. You know, you've had it. You know, you have. Now let's figure out a way to get you out there, and stuff that I wasn't doing. It's time to do more of it. And everything else. So I think, you know, you and I talked about it. Maybe we can ask the audience. Courtney and I is going to do a psychic conspiracy podcast coming up.
Yes,
we're gonna be looking. We need a name. So we're gonna bridge two worlds, baby. You know what I'm saying? And she's a fan of the conspiracy. I am, and I'm a fan of the psychic. So we're gonna bridge this gap. Not even a gap. We're just gonna make it.
Yeah.
You may not believe it, right? So we need a name. So make sure you all, you know, at some point, you know, come up with some good names and meaningful name. Everything has a meaning. So y'all make sure y'all understand that. And you know, we'll look into that over the weeks. Now we're going to be doing are we still doing our event in Oklahoma or
we got to find, listen, we are doing a live event. Who will come? Tell us that tonight.
Yes, we're going to do a live event. Yeah.
Say in Oklahoma City. Listen, we're going to do that. And there, I've got some stuff stacking up, Roderick. I was just in Las Vegas. It was Miami, then Las Vegas. I just booked Las Vegas again yesterday. And I just, listen to this, just booked France. Today I'm going to be in Paris. It's kind of killing me that Mr. Ethan's not going to be with me, but having to breathe and take the step in. So that's coming. That's coming both in September. And so let's pick a day. I'm thinking maybe October. I think we can do it. I think that'll be perfect timing. And so, yes, look at all those OKC. Yes, can't wait. Okay, guys, let's do it. Another thing, though, I want to tell you something. If you guys want to support, Roderick's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. And the way that you can support, guys, I know social media, sometimes everybody's like, gross, all the things. But listen, that's when you publish your books, that's what they're asking for. They want your numbers when you're doing all of those things. And what a dream to be able to put these different creations into the ethers, into the universe. And we would love your support. So if you're on Instashmam, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're on any of those things, it would mean the world if you would go and support, share those posts that we post, like them, love them. We thank you. It means a lot, and it really does help so many algorithms so that other people can find us in the different areas that we're in. And look at all those people saying yes, they would come to Oklahoma. Let's do it.
Well, that's going to be good. Now, of course, I have to do the thing. I got a message here, and also I'm looking at here. There's people in the chats like they're completely lost. Like, what world are we in? Talking about our personal lives, and they want to hear about mastering the Mercury retrograde. And I get it. And but I think sometimes people miss that we're human, and sometimes this is our time to reflect too. And when they do come, they come for what they're expecting. And I learned that a lot. I learned that a lot from my audience and people that sometimes they don't allow us to humanize ourselves to whether we may get off the path because we're excited or not, you know what I'm saying? But I saw a few in the chat, a lot of people, what is this? What is this conversation about? So we'll get them a little bit. So
we're talking all things, and listen, it's already 8:00. We're going over, and I'm going to have to get off in just a little bit. I've got a little girl in there, and it was her first day of school. So yes, this is our time. We're chit-chatting about life. But I will tell you Mercury retrograde. So we have been talking about Mercury retrograde tonight. My dear friend Roderick jumped on with me.
Yes.
So beautiful. Yes, you did. But we were discussing all the ways, first of all, to not freak out about Mercury retrograde. Yes, watch those contracts, sign them. If you have to sign them, just read the fine print. If you have to do those big projects right now, you do not have a choice. That's okay. Go slow and just be in your own rhythm. Don't be rushing necessarily, okay? And also, lots of exes pop up, relationships, friendships, even like a career or a business, a job, an old boss that you knew was not working out for you. They might be popping out right now. And so this is the time that you want to almost just be in reflection. All of the reflections, review, reevaluate. This is what you need to put your time and your energy into right now. And also decluttering, not just the stuff in your house, but maybe your mind. Okay. And if there are some patterns that you're reviewing that you see are not working for you, just without judgment, find great awareness of these moments so that you can grow and start to focus on the step before you while understanding the bigger picture, not being distracted by the work and the effort that has to go in. You have to understand that there's a bigger picture that you're connecting to right now. Big, huge.
Huge, big. All right. So you want to give me a good outgoing message?
Roderick,
I'm going to breathe first.
I love it. Thank you. Okay, let's take a good deep breath in. Big exhale out. I just saw the number 3. I think it's 3 months, not
okay.
It could be 3 weeks, but this feels like what is now? It is August, the 14th? So November. So this feels like mid-November This feels like really great opportunity. And so it doesn't feel like it's even necessarily, it could be some of the finalization of those projects that, first of all, I know about, but it's something else. It doesn't feel like it's just that. It feels like a new, got it? Something
Got it.
new. And your guides are saying, listen, love, yes. If you want to go there, you want to go to love real quick. They're saying
Go there.
there's a time of yes review, but not yet. The time of review, but not yet. And it does feel like the person will be new. But it's also, it feels like they're being very vague, and it's vague because that's not where your mind needs to be right now. Your mind needs to be in the love of you. And it does, again, that number 3 is really huge for you right now. Okay. I also see 2 more projects happening, and this feels like products, by the way, products. So I'm trying to think of what I don't think it's anything that you've told me about. It's 2 other products that you're creating, and it feels like those 2 are going to be put into
that
effect.
Is so funny. We're working on 2 projects. That was the first, I picked the first 2 films that I want to do, and we're working on it right now. I'm in the idea phase, writing down stuff last night as I can think, anything I can think of, but I chose 2, and of course my life path number is 3. So
okay. Oh, okay. There you go.
All
so
right, then.
now listen, I said products, you said projects. So I want you to hear, yes, you're on point with the projects, but those are 2 products that are going to be rolled out.
Products. All right now.
But I think it is also the projects bring through the products. So those things are going to bring through. It's like a mailbox.
Well, they're the product of my new company in Incredulous Media.
Okay. Whatever that is, it feels like
I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I'm gonna take this candle and just burn my face with it.
Well, let's not burn our face with a candle.
It's a light switch. So
okay, I'm like, do I have one of those? No, I have real ones back there, but I have those in my house. Here's a tip, by the way. Find out, Roderick, we're gonna feng shui your place, your house. I just had that idea. We need to do that sometime.
We need to do what now?
We're gonna feng shui your house.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, come by
one day, or your office.
Well,
we can.
You know what? Well, Lonnie did that. She's watching this now. She had her husband come up here one day, and they came in and they walked in and said, "Oh, we're going to do all of this." And then they went to the store, come back with masks and gloves, and like, well, we decontaminated this space first, but no, not this one. I want to wait until I get my new high rise, and with the window view and the big surround, and that's coming, by the way. And so we'll do that one. It'll be empty, and we can start from scratch.
Wait. I'm like, no. And as I say this to you, I'm like, I'm looking at my desk, and I need to feng shui my own desk before I'm telling you to feng shui yours. So see it, there I go. I'm going to take my own advice. Maybe your desk. I'm going to help you feng shui your desk. Okay?
Oh yes. Yesterday I spent 2 hours trying to get everything, and because I got this bad thing that I can only work little, so I divided it up to 8 little pieces and all the junk, and I cleaned this piece. Then I found taking a little bit over here and put it over there. I'm like, no, that's not gonna work. So I started putting it to the floor. And so I came in this morning, it was a lot better, and I was like, man, you can really think now because you're not in this outside mode of things, so it's pretty cool. I think it's time. Yes,
it's time. So we're going to feng shui your desk. I just have that. I just want to do that. Even if I send it to you and say, do this. Okay. But back to the thing. Yes, to projects. Yes, to the new products that are it may be those products, maybe those projects. However, something feels like within that, it's mailbox money. So once you do it, it feels like it's done. That's how that feels to me. Okay?
Maybe it's my book release that's coming out in 30 days.
Well, there you go. I don't think it is. Not that.
Well, that's good. That's good because that'll add on to it. All right, we're not gonna go there.
That's great, though. That's great. But this is something new. It's not that. It's something new.
All right, cool. Okay? Well, then we're gonna go with the new because I rather have the new and all of that. So I am with you. Thank you very much. So
you're welcome, my friend. I love you. Hey guys, listen. Mercury retrograde's nothing to be fearful of. it is something that if you're fearful, that's what you're going to attract, right? Just right now, be in the energy of review, watch where you're angsty, take a breath, have that third party perspective, pay attention, reevaluate, and really, really take care of you, right? Really, really take care of you right now. Start to show that love, that care, and that kindness to yourself in the way that you're praying everybody else in the world will start to show you. It's not going to show up for you until you start showing up for you. Okay. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you for being here tonight. Roderick, thank you for coming on, my friend. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. Love you too. Ethan. All right. We'll talk. I'm out.
Bye, friends.
So close.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, these lives are always my favorite. I'm telling you, I'm always so thrilled you guys being here. The way that you can support us is, yes, by going to those social media, sharing this, liking this, subscribing, and even subscribing to the Forbidden Knowledge channel too. It means the world to us. Thank you for being here. You've got everything it takes, and I'll see you next week.